So we were at the point of being very philosophical about kind of where we see the technology piece and human development. And one of the reasons why I go there is because I have a particular vision and passion around the speed of technology matching the speed of human development in my lifetime. Again, like I said, one is in the trajectory of technology, it's been like this. In human development, yes, we've had some progress, but not as much, in the last 100 years. So with people like you on the planet, it gives me hope that we'll speed up that process. There's so many directions you could have taken on it with your life, with your thought, as you said, as a child, very early on, the way that you dealt with things is you actually turned inside and traveled the universe of your mind. Why choose human development? Do you know, have you ever gotten to what's compelling about that versus science versus, well, it is scientific, but, other areas of study, of exploration?
Because even before I was born, I was in pain. And when the pain became too much to bear, I turned inside for my inner strengths, and I turned outside to travel the world in my mind. But I tell you what the greatest gift was of that experience. It was that I came to know that there had to be a reason why, even if I did not know the reason what.
Go ahead, sorry.
I knew there had to be a reason. I knew that I was here for a reason. And I began to see that I was no more special than anyone else, that they too were here for a reason, and that they too were being given the gifts of support and gifts of challenge that it would take for them to do their own missions.
So in the kind of transformational spiritual environments that I'm around, they talk a lot, there's a lot of talk now. I mean, it's been around forever, but this talk, and again, and especially in spiritual scripture, around unity and oneness and one consciousness. Given you think about that kind of stuff, what do you have to say about that?
I believe that to some extent, that concept is born from a misunderstanding around peace and around cooperation. there is a pervasive but not universally accepted idea that if we just got it, that we would cooperate and somehow fix the world. And with that, I do not agree. I believe there is perfection here now. And there is not a fixing of the world needed. What instead I see is that there is not an appreciation for the perfection already here. There is a searching for the greener pastures. I believe that if we each followed our unique callings, that we would gain greater understanding. But I do not share the view that there would be a reduction in challenge, a view that is so pervasive in the self-development world. I believe that we have not only a unique mission and unique gifts, but a unique constellation of challenges. And as you know, Alexandra, even people faced with what might be the same challenge perceive it differently, making it a different challenge in their eyes.
Yeah, so that's the world of what happens versus how we perceive what happens, right?
So I see that there will always be that. And I am not of the opinion that what has been termed the omega point or ultimate goal of humanity is something that can be experienced by the physical or the mortal world.
Well, that's an interesting point. So say more about that.
Well, in the world, the physical world of experience, I think that we can transiently catch glimpse of the soul. The message of the soul, the wholeness of that message. But for us to be mortal, to be physical, if you will, we require there to be charges.
Mm-hmm. Charges like challenges, right?
Yeah. Well, like what we term charges, like emotional charge.
Yes.
For instance. And so, because we are talking about the physical world, those charges must exist.
Mm-hmm. So I have to ask you again, Amit, what's it like being you, being 12 years old and dealing with a world that sometimes treats you like that? You know, I'm profoundly moved by your wisdom, and I know that people would want to know what it's like day to day for you. You know, how is it when someone treats you like a 12-year-old?
The hesitation is because the thing that I found most challenging was not when they treated me my age, but when they acted like I wasn't even there.
Oh, so does that occur often? I mean, how does that show up for you?
Often enough, when, because I don't yet speak with words my full thoughts, I am ignored.
Yes, it's funny because even I know what you mean, because your father's speaking for you, speaking your words. I tend to look at him and be with him. And I'm like, oh no, it's Amit. So I understand, you know, that in the moment. And how does that make you feel?
Well, I have felt sad and felt angry and a few other feelings that are best not recorded.
But, it makes me angry too to think about that.
But happening. I have learned that as a result of those periods of being ignored, I have become a great student of humanity. Because I learned to listen, to look for what they meant more than what they say. To get to know the true them without the distraction of words. I have permitted myself to think.
And what do you mean by think?
That is their gift to me.
That it leaves you with thinking.
Yes. I get to study them. I get to think.
Yeah.
I get to understand what really inspires them. I get to understand the rules by which they live their lives. As a result of that, I can now, when I do consultations or when I meet and interact with people, get to know the true them with much more facility. I've had a lot of training studying humanity through their silence.
So great. So one question that's often asked in interviews is, what would you say to your younger self? You know, if someone's over 30, you know, usually that's a question. What, Amit, would you say to your older self, if you could? So fast forward at 30 years, what would you say to yourself?
If you have lived true to your calling, you have already been making your biggest mark.
So that's Amit talking to Amit 30 years from now.
Yes.
And what would you say to your father 30 years from now?
The same thing that I would say to him today. That is, thank you for following your heart in this journey, Daddy. I love you.
That's beautiful. So I am going to say one or two words which begin a sentence. And I'm going to ask you to finish that sentence. Okay? We'll just try this. So my father is. This is from it. My father is.
My father is the perfect person to be my daddy with my challenges and with my mission.
Autism is.
A label placed by others who don't get us.
So the next ones I'm going to ask, just answer in 1 to 3 words if you can. If not, no problem. Values are.
The most important things to you.
Truth is.
What you know from beyond the level of the senses.
God is.
The ordering force in this universe.
Love is.
Now, that's a funny one, since you know John DeMartini. And I accept that is the synthesis and synchronicity of complementary opposites, as John says. Because I have had the privilege of having moments of love.
And the last one is, I promise that I will.
Be true to me.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you guys want to say just to complete our time together today? And I'm hoping we have more.
My part, I would like to say thank you very much for allowing us to do this and for challenging us to do it, because you remember how nervous it was when you asked.
It was easy, right? It was easy.
So thank you for giving us this opportunity. I would like to say how grateful I am that you are helping to give me my voice to the world. Thank you for believing in me and in my mission.
And yes, like I said, I'm an absolute stan for your mission. And I just thank you guys so profoundly for who you are in the world, and the, like I said in the beginning, the possibility of really what's possible for us as human beings. You live it, you be it, you do it, you are it. And you're a constant inspiration. And I know that you live every day of your life like that. So thank you for having the courage and everything that it takes to be living inspiration. And, you know, again, anything that I can do to support you getting out there even more and more and more, because the world needs more of you. So you both. So again, thank you. And hopefully this is just part 1, or, you know, like we will do this again. And I'm sure there's some content that we can come up with. And I will ask the viewers what they want to hear about from you, Amit, and you, Kumar. So thanks everybody for listening in today to Alexandra Joy TV. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will be seeing you very soon with more transformational spiritual leaders that inspire breakthroughs in our conversations. Thanks, and have wonderful days.